Hello buddy, senior engineer, MBA, and investor. And in today's video, I want to give an update on Beam Therapeutics corporate presentation. Of course, this is a trade by our member of the community, Gene Editing, or known as Gene Investing, handle Twitter. And they tweeted the following: Beam finally updated their corporate presentation. So here are my biggest takeaways so far. I think many of you already know, but their 100,000 square feet facility in North Carolina is expected to be operational in 2023. So obviously I took a look at this trade. I was like, you know what? Let me make a video on this because you'll see in just shortly why this is an important trade, because for two reasons. One, because Beam obviously updated their corporate presentation, and I think because we have so many fans of Beam in this channel, including myself really, I think it's worth us looking at the updates. But also you'll see that the CEO of Beam Therapeutics, of course we're talking about John Evans there, actually replied to this thread, right? Which is really interesting. So let's take a look here. So of course this 100,000 square foot new facility expected to be operational 2023. So that looks like an update. That's pretty interesting. That's a really big facility, 100,000 square feet, really, really big. My biggest takeaway from this slide is highlighted by the people, at the bottom. Based on the math, they expect 20% of sickle cell disease for wave 1, 60% for wave 2, and 100% for wave 3. Okay, so this is what we're looking at. Okay, sure. I mean, this is just, it's good, but it's not really, revolutionary in terms of updates. This is only the only slide on in vivo delivery type of cell needed for wave 3 sickle cell. So of course they're looking at a wave 1, wave 2, wave 3, wave 1 being of course Beam 101. And the end goal is wave 3 there. And obviously with this one, they're talking about in vivo, talking about delivery here. Okay, main thing I notice here is 60,000 patients in US. This is for Beam 302, right? Okay. Okay, yeah, so 60,000 ZZ patients. Okay. I mean, yeah, I mean, this is pretty cool to know. This slide explains why I don't take CRISPR therapeutics or NTLA seriously in oncology, and I have a lot of NTLA stock, okay. Also why I have high hopes for future multiplex oncology programs. Right, so Gene investing, although he or she is invested in NTLA, he stated that they don't take NTLA seriously because of this slide on oncology, in the world of oncology. Sure. Okay, we'll move on here. I was pretty positive that the third Verve program was 35% WW, but this says 33%. I thought Beam had a process orbital for IP forever. It only takes 3 years. And I thought they would share this delivery tech forever. So I'm a bit confused by this. So this 33% here, he's talking about, or she is talking about this number here, 33%, right? And of course, John Evans over here, let's go over Mr. Evans tweeted back saying, yes, it should be 35%. That's a typo. Good catch, and it will fix. The 3-year initial term on orbital is the period during which the access to the new IP is granted. The use of that IP is long term, right? So then it goes on to ask another question here. And Evans responds, that research is ongoing, no updates yet. 30% is a commonly cited threshold for the more, the better. Okay, so if you take a look at this slide, guys, I don't think you guys can see this from my face. You know what? Let me minimize my face here just for you, so you guys see it. If you guys see it, just over here, it says 33% of WW cost profits, but this was a mistake. This should have been 35. This is an established partnership between Verve and Beam Therapeutics. There's nothing new here. And of course, that orbital tweet is about this section of the slide saying 3-year Beam access to orbital IP in the field of genome editing and certain other fields not included. And of course, in the middle, you see prime medicine, which is again unchanged here. So these are things that we already knew, but it looks like there was a typo in this slide. So what do I think here? Let me put back my little face here back to normal size if I could. So what I think about this, I think there's nothing really, nothing really revolutionary here in terms of updates. I think most of us really I've already been following this company. I think the big update here is the square foot facility. I think that's pretty big. I actually did not know there was going to be fully operational in 2023. Maybe I missed a conference or an update, or maybe I'm having a blank there. I didn't know that they were going to have a big field, because I remember with the podcast episode between Evans and Dr. Harouni, I believe Evans mentioned about that number, or at least close to that number, square foot facility. So I knew about that, but I just didn't know that this was going to be operational 2023. So I'm very thankful for that. I a little bit disagree with the statement here that he or she doesn't take NTLA or CRISPR seriously in oncology because of this slide. I mean, I've said it many times. I mean, these are all like, data on primates, on non-human primates, right? So to me, you could give me the best data, but that doesn't mean I'm going to disregard a company that has 2 successful CRISPR programs ongoing. And of course, I'm talking about NTLA with 2001 and 2002 programs. So I don't know. I mean, just data speaks louder, right? Numbers don't lie. So we'll see where we go from there. But of course, this the whole thing with patients and so on is interesting. But again, we've already established this sickle cell disease. Even if you were to treat all these patients, people cannot forget that you're not editing the germline of humans. So that means that people that carry the traits that will lead their children and so on to have sickle cell disease will pass that trait on. And of course, that person may have sickle cell disease. Hopefully not, but of course, as genomes and how they work, genetics, of course, genetics 101. You will carry traits from both your father and mother. And of course, that means that there are still chances for you to have sickle cell disease, assuming one of your parents has sickle cell disease. And even if they're cured by Beam 101, for example, in the future, that does not mean that you may not, their children of that father, for example, who has now been cured from sickle cell disease, does not mean he cannot have a child that carries the trait that he previously had. Like I said, it does not affect the germline. So there's always going to be population. Of course, that's bad. I'm not happy about that. But in terms of commercial, in terms of business, you can't argue against that. But that's probably why governments are involved in this, funding these programs, having more incentives, giving designation, giving priority to these programs, and exactly why the FDA should not shy away from genome editing, especially when it comes to a disease that really have no treatment, right? Sickle cell disease has no treatment, guys. It has no treatment. I mean, IV infusions and so on are not treatment. These are just, maintenance. And, I don't think people want maintenance. I think people want cures, right? So it is what it is. So great thread here from Gene Editing here. Shout out to Gene Editing for tweeting this out. And of course, shout out to Dr. Evans for replying back to this thread. I don't know why I said Dr. Evans. He is not a doctor, actually. Regardless. Thank you so much for watching, guys. Like this video if you found value. Subscribe if you're not. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Have a beautiful, beautiful Tuesday, I guess. Thank you.